The world met them in the search for love and said goodbye too soon. Here's the heartbreaking list of Bachelor contestants who are no longer with us. Tyler Gwozdz appeared on Hannah Brown's season of The Bachelorette during the spring of 2019. He posted on Instagram a couple of times as The Bachelorette aired, and his last post in September 2019 showed him hanging out with other bachelors from his season. While Tyler had some Bachelorette fans rooting for him, a mysterious issue prompted an early exit. He disappeared with no official explanation during episode 3, and although there were rumors that production had made him leave the show, Tyler told Refinery29 that those rumors were unsubstantiated and that he'd decided to leave in coordination with production. In January 2020, TMZ reported Tyler had died at the age of 29 from a suspected drug overdose. A woman made a 911 call from a home in Boca Raton, Florida, and told police that Tyler had locked himself in a bathroom and was believed to be ODing. He was rushed to the hospital and reportedly spent a week there in critical but stable condition, according to TMZ. He died 10 days later. In March, the Palm Beach County Medical Examiner revealed that an accidental opioid toxicity had caused Tyler's death. Erin Storm appeared on season 12 of The Bachelor, which featured Matt Grant. The show listed her profession as hot dog vendor, but her real-life career accomplishments were far more interesting. Erin's Facebook page noted she had worked as a flight attendant for United Airlines, and she'd also worked for the Santa Monica Mirror as a host and field reporter. Matt eliminated Erin in week 3 during that season. In March 2016, Erin died in a plane crash at the age of 41. She had reportedly pursued her pilot's license soon after her run on The Bachelor, and the Los Angeles Times reported that Erin was flying an airborne XT-912 plane when she apparently lost control. Shortly after leaving Hawthorne Municipal Airport in California, the ultralight single-engine craft crashed and burst into flames. Bystanders rushed to pull Erin out of the plane. She was taken to the hospital, but died from her injuries. One of the men who had hoped to snag Jillian Harris's final rose during season 5 of The Bachelorette was Julien Hug. He seemed like he'd be one to watch throughout the season, but ultimately he didn't stay on the show for long. Tragically, the year after appearing on The Bachelorette, Julien died by suicide at age 35. After his death, his family said in part, "Our son meant the world to us, and this came as a complete shock. We are beyond devastated and completely distraught. What we saw was his thirst for life with fast cars, motorcycles, and his love of skydiving." Pilot Jake Pavelka led season 14 of The Bachelor in 2010. One of the hopeful ladies on the year's roster was Lex McAllister, although she was eliminated during the first episode of that season. In February 2016, Lex had a drug overdose and died of an apparent suicide, according to TMZ. Her family explained that Lex had dealt with both bipolar disorder and depression, but they also stressed how vibrant she was. Lex's sister, Andrea Bogner, shared with ET, "She was involved in many wonderful charities and very active in her community. She was very involved in anything to do with empowering women, bringing awareness to human trafficking and domestic violence issues in our city. We don't want any of that to get lost or forgotten because of the nature of her death." Lex's brother Josh McAllister also said his sister was an amazingly bright star and her shine could only light the world for so long.
I have no strategy. I'm just me, and I'm just hoping that that works.
Gia Allemand appeared on Jake Pavelka's season of The Bachelor in early 2010. The two appeared to hit it off, but he eliminated her after their fantasy suite date. Gia also participated in seasons 1 and 2 of Bachelor Pad in 2010 and 2011, before stepping away from reality television. In August 2011, Gia met professional basketball player Ryan Anderson in the Bahamas. Although their future together seemed bright, in August 2013, the two had a fight, which led to Anderson leaving her alone at her apartment. Sports Illustrated reported that Gia's family later contacted Anderson and asked him to check on her. Tragically, when he arrived, he found that Gia had attempted suicide. Anderson called 911 and she was rushed to the hospital. 2 days later, Gia's loved ones took her off of life support, citing a critical loss of brain and organ function, according to People. During season 10 of The Bachelorette, Eric Hill shared some memorable moments with Andy Dorfman. He received the first one-on-one date of Andy's season, and a visit to the beach, a helicopter ride, and some snowboarding got their relationship off to an adrenaline-filled start. But in week 4, he voiced questions about Andy's authenticity, and his journey on the show ended. Before those episodes aired, however, Eric died in an accident at the age of 32. CNN detailed that he had been paragliding in Draper, Utah, when a partial collapse of his parachute propelled him into a hillside. He was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. A couple of days later, his sister, Karen Tracy, shared the heartbreaking news of his death in a Facebook post, writing, "Eric shared his final journey with us this morning, as all his immediate family were able to be at his side when he passed away. He gave us such a gift of a life fully lived and fully shared, and allowed us all to be a part of his last adventure here on Earth. The Bachelorette kept the scenes involving Eric and Andy's season, as it aired in May and June 2014 after he died. Eric was the only contestant in series history who died before their episodes aired. When Emily Maynard headlined The Bachelorette in 2012 after her broken The Bachelor engagement to Brad Womack, Michael Nance hoped he could be her Mr. Right. He thought that perhaps his passion for music would help him stand out, and even introduced himself as Music Mike to Emily as he gave her a guitar pick. Michael wasn't just a musician at the time, though. He was also a counselor with a rehabilitation center, having navigated a prior addiction to prescription medications. When he joined The Bachelorette, he had 2 years of sobriety. Michael was eliminated just a few episodes into Emily's season of The Bachelorette. Viewers loved him, though, and they followed along as he spent the next 5 years pursuing his music and working a handful of miscellaneous jobs.
I told everybody to send in a line, and then I'll put it all together, and I would make a song out of it.
Tragically, he apparently relapsed at some point prior to his death at the age of 31. People shared that the autopsy report ruled that Michael's death was caused by accidental drug toxicity. After his passing, Emily tweeted, "So sad waking up to the news about Michael Nance. Such a kind heart and so much talent. Sending prayers and love to his family and friends." Cristy Caserta joined season 15 of The Bachelor, which brought Brad Womack back for a second shot at finding love. The Florida attorney was eliminated during the first week of Brad's 2011 season, but she seemed to make a big impression on her fellow bachelorettes. In 2018, Cristy suddenly died at the age of 38. According to TMZ, Cristy was at a school in Sunrise, Florida for a training class when she seemed to have a seizure and fell forward in her seat. Despite CPR efforts and a transfer to the hospital, Cristy passed away. The autopsy report later detailed that her death had been caused by hyperthyroidism and an enlarged heart. Charlie Newling made his debut in Bachelor Nation as part of Australia's The Bachelorette Season 4 in 2018. The Sydney native made it to the Hometowns episode before being eliminated just 2 episodes before the grand finale. Behind the scenes, Charlie had struggled with his mental health as well as drug and alcohol addiction after receiving backlash from fans over his controversial run on the show, namely for his outspoken nature, allegedly possessive behavior, and for not allowing Bachelorette Ali Etjen and his family to meet because they weren't yet in a committed relationship. In 2020, Charlie met his partner and mother of his daughter, Crystal Taylor, in Queensland, where he'd moved to recuperate. The two would later relocate to Sydney, where Charlie ran into some legal trouble, including a 2021 DUI charge and a 2022 conviction for threatening to kill his stepfather. He also received treatment in a rehab center. Just 2 months after his daughter's birth, Charlie died in September 2023 after driving his car off a cliff. The paramedics were sadly unable to resuscitate him at the scene. He was 36. Clint Arlis made his appearance on The Bachelorette during season 11 while competing for Caitlin Bristow's love, but was eliminated during week 3. However, there was more to Clint than his time on the show. According to People, the reality contestant not only worked as a project manager, but was also a volunteer mentor at Chicago schools. In January 2022, the 34-year-old sister took to Facebook to announce his death, writing, "It is with great sadness to tell you that my family has lost my best friend and older brother Clint on the morning of January 11th. Please respect our family's privacy as we try to cope with this great loss." At the time, not many details were revealed regarding the cause of death, but 2 months later, Page 6 reported that Clint had died by suicide. After the sad news broke, Caitlin shared in part on her Instagram stories, "From his time on the show until today, I have heard nothing but incredible things about that person. Clint was very well respected in his world, and it's an absolute tragedy what's happened." If you or anyone you know needs help with addiction issues, mental health, or is struggling or in crisis, use any of these resources. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or call SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP 4357. Contact the Crisis Text Line by texting HOME to 741-741. Call the National Alliance on Mental Illness Helpline at 1-800-950-NAMI 6264 or visit the National Institute of Mental Health website. Call or text 988 or chat 988lifeline.org.